There's a belonging that I'll never get here, that in Jamaica, that it's just, I feel understood in ways that I don't 100% feel understood here.
Denai Moore, having been brought to the UK from Jamaica, finds connection through food to her roots. This is Writer's Mosaic, What We Leave We Carry, the series that tells the true life stories of migration to the UK.
I'm Denai, and I was born in Jamaica and I grew up in London. I think a lot of my memories of Jamaica is definitely centered around food and my childhood home. I feel like I've got a very romanticized version of it in my brain because I just haven't been back since I was 9. So I left Jamaica when I was 9. And it's really this kind of, the way my brain remembers it is this place that I discovered so many parts of myself in. And I think, you know, in Jamaica, I had like so many different fruit bearing trees. And I think I learned to understand and appreciate seasonal eating and produce at its peak. I think it's part of the reason why I love food so much, and it's why I now cook based on seasons, because it's ingrained in the culture. Like in Jamaica, people are very aware of the seasons. Like right now it's mango season, so that's upsetting. But I feel like it's something that was so ingrained in me that I didn't think it was a concept. Like moving here, people talk about or try to encourage people to eat seasonally, because most of the produce that people get might be from a massive supermarket, and often the produce is from different parts of the world. It's like imported. So growing up in Jamaica, most of the food, if not all the food I was eating, definitely fruit and veg, was grown in Jamaica. And so you're very aware of what is at its peak at the right times. But I've realized this, like connecting this to my brain and just having that relationship with fruit and veg, like picking a mango or like, you know, the ackee, and like we had a tamarind tree and my mum used to make like tamarind juice. And so I would have to, as a job, as a kid, I would have to peel all of the tamarind, which is quite, you know, a tricky, well, not tricky, but a long kind of job. You can't skip it. It's like one of those things that like, I think the way that everything that we do now, there's so many shortcuts to it, when in reality, things just actually do take time. So there's something really nice about like having that tangible relationship with the tamarind juice kind of process, and me having to like remove all the shells and take away the seeds and like all that kind of stuff. It's long, but like I think I learned a lot kind of in doing that, you know. I think my mum moved my family here so that me and my siblings could have kind of a more expansive life and future and just opportunities in general. And I think, I don't know, as much as I love Jamaica, I do love it. Like going back, there's something deeper there, that the sense of belonging that I will never ever get in this country, that I love. I think the way that I've set my life up here as an adult, like I think, yeah, there's lots of reasons why my mom kind of decided to move us over here. And I think, I know as a kid, I was always very creative already. Like I knew from early on that I was going to do something in this kind of field, you know, maybe not the food part, but definitely kind of in the kind of performing arts, like creative music kind of realm. I think that's the reason why lots of people move from Jamaica. I moved here when I was 9, about to turn 10, but I came for the first time to London when I was 5. And there's lots of these like photos of me, like kind of, you know, 90s baby. I think this would have been 98 in London, like all on film. That's quite funny and sweet. But I guess from the childlike lens, you don't understand, you can't fully grasp the concept. So I feel like it's a question I'd love to ask my mum. Because for her, the cultural shift in your 30s, in your late 30s, moving to a country late 30s, early 40s, probably early 40s, as a Black woman from Jamaica with so much experience under her belt as a head teacher for like years. My mum has always been a head teacher. But over here, it kind of, those qualifications didn't kind of matter in a weird way. She had to start from zero. I think her shift culturally would have been so much more different to mine. And I guess as a kid, it's like you just want to fit in, which when, you know, obviously I don't have my accent now, but when I first moved here, I had my little like island girl accent. I feel like it's a different experience because like, I mean, I'll just never get the produce here. Like it's never gonna be as, like, obviously you can't eat fresh ackee, you can barely access fresh callaloo. Like there's a few places that you can get it, but it's not gonna taste the same as back home. So I think you make peace with that already. Even the Scotch bonnets are better in Jamaica. Everything, the pimento, the spices are so much more potent, which makes sense. And it's interesting how, maybe to go off on a different tangent, but there was this episode of Chef's Table where the chef, he's a pastry chef, and like obviously so much, like I said, so much of good food I think is stemmed in seasonality. Like if you're gonna make the best tasting like food, it's, you kind of have to listen to what is around you, or else you'll end up with bland kind of, like it will taste fine but it's not going to be as good, right? Food. And as a pastry chef, people don't talk about like what is seasonal food for pastry chefs, and you think about sugar. And so when he went to Thailand and he started working in restaurants there, and he is having really fresh palm sugar and all of these ingredients, he was able to make the best food that he possibly could. And I think what I try to do here is I can't replicate, I already know that I can't 100% replicate the things that I want to do in Jamaica, but I use the seasonal produce in the UK. And so there's amazing produce. Like right now, strawberry season is coming in, like tomato season's coming. Like it's playing to the strengths of the environment that I'm in. So I'm never gonna center my food in like something that will come in a tin, because I feel like that's a shame to do that when there's really good produce here that I can still impart technique and flavor and kind of spices to the produce that is like already here. So I guess my food will inherently feel, fusion is not the word that I want to use, but it's authentic to where I am and like the story of the fact that I live here now. The one I can think of that is definitely significant was the trip I went to in 2017, because off the back of that I started Dee's Table. And I guess it was my first time properly going as an adult, and navigating parts of the country without my family, and just seeing it from a different lens, I think was like really life-changing in a way, and just grounding. I think it kind of like was a really special trip for many reasons. Also, my last trip was also quite special because I did a residency at a hotel, and I cooked for the first time properly, like as a chef in Jamaica, which felt really special. And the produce was just like, again, out of this world. Like I made a passion fruit creme brulee, and I picked the passion fruit myself, and that was like really, I think about it often because I'm like, I'm never gonna get passion fruit that good in my whole life. Before I started Dee's Table, that's kind of what I was initially doing. I was inviting friends. I'd be like, bring a lover, bring a friend with you over for dinner. I'd make these like elaborate kind of meals basically, because I don't know when to stop. That's my issue. I'm like, things snowball. And that's also what I love about food as well. I don't plan stuff often. I just lead by inspiration of whatever I feel like making on the day, which for a lot of people feels a little bit insane. But like, I remember I'd make like an ice cream from scratch. I'll do like, lots of really fun kind of sharing plates. And so I was like, I want to invite more people to the table in that sense. So that's kind of why I called it Dee's Table and where it kind of stemmed from. Culturally, I missed a lot of stuff here that people, because I know like garage and like lots of these artists that I didn't grow up with listening to here. So I think there's a lot of cultural references that I miss sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I was definitely like into all the indie bands as a teenager. That was definitely like a thing. But I don't know, I grew up listening to everything. My dad listened to everything. Like he played a lot of like Incubus when I was in Jamaica as a kid. And my brother listened to like a lot more like heavier bands, like Slipknot and stuff like that. So the household were like playing lots of stuff. My mum was more like, my mum wasn't like necessarily a kind of woman that would just put on records on a Sunday. That wasn't really her kind of vibe. But then I grew up kind of adjacent to church, I guess. So I think I have a relationship with kind of gospel music in a way that I love gospel music. I love the melodies and the musicality of it. And so I think that in itself is like, there's so much stuff that I grew up listening to. But I think it's also, I don't know, it's telling based on the person I am, you know, now. Like, I feel like I do maybe too many things sometimes. There's a belonging that I'll never get here, that in Jamaica, that it's just, I feel understood in ways that I don't 100% feel understood here. Here I find myself having to explain what I do all the time, which makes sense, you know, if you didn't grow up kind of eating similar things, you might not get the reference point, you might not understand why I'm doing certain things. Or if you didn't grow up culturally with kind of in that kind of community, which I think in London there's so many pockets of kind of Jamaican communities, or like people would have grown up eating a lot of kind of food from home. But there's something nice about not having to explain anything. And I don't know, there's like, every time I go back, I feel my gut is telling me something that I need to like be there more. And I think, I don't know, so many people I speak to, they communicate similar things of, there's something that is kind of unsaid. Like you're there and you're just like, this feels really good. I think that's a really important thing to listen to. So I definitely will be like going back a lot more. I think I feel both Jamaican and British in different measures. And I think it's really hard because I've been here for most of my life. And so Britishness from a distance, I'm like, how much do I relate to it? But I think I am British because I'm here. I've been here for most of my experiences has been here. Culturally, I've been here. But I am Jamaican to my core. So it's a really tricky kind of thing. I feel like how we see ourselves is like really interesting in general. It's complicated, but I do feel like a Londoner. Yeah, I actually do at my core feel like I feel at home in many spaces in London, and growing up in such a culturally diverse like borough as Newham, I feel at home in that environment. But it's complicated. I think a lot of people feel that kind of, they identify more with London as opposed to like saying they're British. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's complicated. It's really complicated.
Denai Moore was talking to Jazz Grant.